out here on Hollywood Boulevard, possibly participating. Hopefully I can be heard. This is Ogxlyfe Speaks on YouTube and on Facebook. I should be like Ogxlyfe Speaks on Facebook too, you know what I'm saying? I do more shit on Facebook than I do on YouTube. But like the earlier stuff I was talking about, the promotional stuff, and like just like giving the ambiance of what goes on when we're out here possibly participating in both the law of action and the law of attraction. But in order to activate that law of attraction properly, because you're working within the law of attraction either negatively or positively, just like you're working in the law of action negatively or positively. Either you're being inactive or you're being active. And the beginning of positive participation, period, in any law is action. So everything starts with the law of action. So, you know, as we break down the Gnostic definitions of the laws that govern human agency, we kind of really want to start with the law of action and how that law of action is the mechanism for activating the law of attraction positively, because you're negatively operating within the law of attraction if you're not positively participating or if you're not actively participating in it. So therefore the action is the beginning, is the foundation. So I kind of want to get into that because a lot of people think that, you know, law of attraction from the standpoint of just creative visualization. Without action, I can creatively visualize the reality that I want. You can't creatively visualize the reality that you want. It's a part of the action of creating the reality that you want. So you have to put in physical action or local action, not just non-local action, in order to create the reality that you want. Like Tyrese, before he you know had his nervous breakdown, was talking about it, that you have to be places where successful people are. You have to be places where you allow yourself to be successful, where you actively allow yourself to attract the reality that you want to attract. So that's really what we're talking about right now as far as the law of action is concerned. And being out here and actively involving ourselves and being in a place where the action occurs. And the action is not necessarily, I mean, you can be active in your home. You know what I'm saying? By, you know what I'm saying, establishing an online presence. By working on your art craft. You know what I'm saying? Action doesn't necessarily have to take place outside of the home, but it is a place where action, even the actions you take within your living space, have to actively move outside of that living space in order for them to take life. So, you know, again, here we are speaking about laws of action, the law of action and how it operates in relationship to the laws that govern human agency. And I really got to say, I mean, law of power is in there, but it has to start with, you know, the law of action, and then it culminates into the law of attraction. What's up, sir? What's up? Long time no see. How you doing? All right. And then it culminates into the law of attraction. And then from that, you start to get because you have to have an understanding of a law of power in order to actually really understand what it is in relationship to use and misuse. And that's not just you from a micro standpoint. That's you from a macro standpoint. The macrocosm, as the Taoists refer to it as it's translated in the English language, and then you are the microcosm. So we're gonna talk about that, how we're developing these principles in relationship to the laws that govern human agency, and the classification of those laws, which can be, you know what I'm saying, broken down to 4 laws, and then, you know, even expressed as many as 12 laws, because it's these circuits. Laws are derived from a circuit. So, you know, the law of nature or evolution, you know, starts with, you know, self-preservation, and then it's, you know what I'm saying, the fitness to survive, and then this adaptation. Those complete a circuit that create the law of evolution. So when you're talking about, you know what I'm saying, the laws that govern human agency, there are aspects to that law that creates circuits that activate, and then once you connect one to the other, it establishes the force behind that particular principle that puts it into action. So, you know, that's kind of like what we're discussing right now. You know what I'm I'm saying, or what we're actually experimenting with. So if you want to come and, you know what I'm saying, check out, you know what I'm saying, Ogxlyfe Speaks on YouTube and Ogxlyfe Speaks on Facebook, we're going to be posting because that's law of action. And we know that law of action will eventually accumulate into a law of attraction, positive attraction, because the action is the positivity. So, you know, and it's great that we're doing this because you can look back and see the experience, our personal experience, like, you know what I'm saying, being, you know, set kind of like, you know, being recorded for prosperity's sake in order to, you know, see the progression of our journey. And I mean, that's even starting with us before the tent, in the tent, and then after the tent, through the rooms, and, you know, into the apartment. Right. That's right. Because when we talk about this, you know what I'm saying, it's like we got the very same apartment that we visualized. The first apartment that was brought to us was in an entirely different neighborhood and looked entirely different from the apartment that we initially visualized. And then once we saw the apartment that we visualized, we were told that we were going to get that apartment, we were going to get another apartment, but we continued to visualize the apartment that we visualized and ended up in the very apartment that we visualized. That's the you know what I'm saying? That's where you have these outside forces telling you that what you think is not possible, but yet you hold true, faithful to your vision, and your vision becomes real. When we, magnetism, you attract it. And that's crazy because people were like coming at us like people who didn't know us when we were out on the street and we had our tent and we had our fucking bags out here, and sometimes we were in the bags and shit, sleeping bags, looking at us like that was gonna be that, defining us by that condition. That was our forever, and that we would never get out of that condition. And if we had bought into that hetero suggestion, that negative hetero suggestion, then we would still be here with a tent and fucking goddamn sleeping bags sitting under this table. Right. So when we say things like, okay, property and, you know what I'm saying, house and shit like that, that's what we do. That's what we travel and online and being online influencers and things of that nature. We know that it's possible because we've made our reality possible, and we've seen the evidence of us being possible. That strengthens faith. The realization of faith, or the manifestation of faith, strengthens faith, which is things that are hoped for that are yet not seen, things of substance that are hoped for that are not yet seen, and that's where, like, you know, saying that vain faith versus, you know, saying like vain worship versus, you know, actual, you know, practical worship and practical faith. Vain prayer versus practical prayer or scientific prayer, as you know, described by Joseph Murphy. So, you know, we out here giving it to you, you know what I'm saying, raw and shit, you know what I'm saying. Out here with my business partner, Mike Malone, Mike Boogie123 on Instagram. You know, we pushing that shit through, you know what I'm saying. Old money gangsters, man. We pushing boundaries. We creating our own reality out here. We being and doing the God that we said that we are. You know what I'm saying? Showing and proving by our ways and actions, showing and proving that we are autopistons.
Guess what? A lot of the niggas that was telling us that we was never going to get off the street, we living a lot better than.
Right. That part right there. A lot of the niggas that walk back up and down the street who was telling us that we was going to be, that we calling us names and shit and, you know, making up shit with their paratax and distortion that we were, you know, are still walking up and down the street. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that you're in jail.
Sleeping on their mama's couch, you know, in a worse position than we in a room somewhere, nigga. Stop.
Let your hater be your motivator. Because it was a time in which we had fucking a tent and fucking sleeping bags under this table.
And the tablecloth was way down.
Right.
And concealing everything.
And
now the tablecloth is open.
Right. And that reality is no longer our reality. There's nothing to see here. Move on, there's nothing to see here.
And now, like, on the train, people would try, because we have this card,
Yeah.
We have this card, so they try to attribute that to homelessness. And there's some people who know the difference, that it's the hustle, but it doesn't matter who else knows the difference. It matters that we know the difference.
That we, at the end of the day, at the end of the night, that's fact. Look at Mike Malone here with the Mike Malone collection. That's what's up.
He got the Frida. He got the band T-shirts. He got the jean jackets.
The sun hit it.
He got everything.
Turn it this way. Bam, back to normal.
He got everything. So come out here, support his merch, y'all.
Oh, Money Gangsters.
Jacket,
There we go.
T-shirt, hoodies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We expanding this shit. We always expanding. We always thinking about our next move. You know what I'm saying?
Melrose. We're going to Melrose.
We're going to
go down there.
We're going to Melrose.
Just got to go down there and get a ticket, like fucking.
Yeah, whatever.
Seven, you just got to go down there.
Get the hustle. Always keep the hustle moving. You know what I'm saying? Always.
How we can make more money.
And
You're
we
right,
can
right.
always walk down there from here. It's like a mile away.
Yeah.
It really ain't shit.
Or even fucking lift down there. Lift
Or
down.
we're taking 217.
We can lift down there. We could just come up here.
Ask William to drive us.
Or we're gonna drive us.
If you better take William to drive us so we can get up out of here quick. I wonder what the hell was itching.
So yeah, y'all catch us on Melrose next. Fucking shit up.
Yeah, we out here fucking goddamn, you know what I'm saying, on that positive participation, hustle and grind shit.
Going out and creating something, not just settling for less.
That part.
For, you know, some shit that we're not gonna be happy with.
Right.
Because I mean, personally, and I'm not knocking anybody who does this, but I would be miserable working for somebody else.
That 9 to 5 is not my thing, you know what I'm saying?
So, it's such a drag.
I am not a corporate slave. I had to get off the corporate plantation. It's not like I haven't been on a corporate plantation. It's just that I had to get off that bitch.
It's not in line with your happiness no more.
Right.
And you just have to make that sacrifice of temporary, you know, momentary discomfort.
Right.
Sometimes, you know, having a business is uncomfortable.
Right.
But long term.
It's the long term. It's that 2 marshmallows an hour later instead of taking that marshmallow right now. We talked about that compound effect, and that's what we really are on, that compound effect. Like taking that 2 cent a day, times 2 cent a day, instead of getting that 3 million up front, which is really being on a corporate plantation. I want to show, you know what I'm saying, when you hold accountability. You know what I'm saying? Again, we were talking about that earlier in the earlier segments, like the earlier tapes that I did. The earlier is that accountability. And people's they short started walking. They were standing.
They halfway down the street now.
But they were standing there for a good second, right?
Like for at least like a minute.
Until I subjected them to accountability. So therefore, they were aware of the fact that their behavior was antisocial.
They clicked. They must have known it the whole time.
They had to know it all the time. That part. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what Ogxlyfe Speaks is about. It's not just it's about that edutainment shit. We give you fucking practical information, but we also make, you know what I'm saying, it entertaining and, you know what I'm saying, relevant. You know, that's what we're about. We're about being relevant. And we can show, again, that accountability. See, give them something to make me accountable about.
Now they're not looking back.
Right. See, that's the thing about it. That the paradox of distortion, the antisocial behavior, the sociopathic behavior, the inhospitable behavior. That's why I see Hollywood Boulevard as, you know what I'm saying, Hollywood or LA as, you know what I'm saying, Sodom and Gomorrah, is how unhospitable it is. You know, Hollywood Boulevard itself attracts a very unhospitable narcissistic personality disorder of a specific type, you know, of an extreme type. And we're collecting data to support that shit, to support that conclusion. You got to test the conclusion. That's a theory. It's a hypothesis and a conclusion that.
Well, before you can get to the conclusion, you have to get data.
You have to get data, and that's how you establish the hypothesis, and therefore by that hypothesis you establish the conclusion. Then you test that conclusion, which comprises the entire theory. But most of you guys didn't take fucking science and fucking. I was always in advanced science classes. That's the one thing that they wouldn't put me in advanced math classes, which made me fucking, you know, I really didn't get that shit. But they really wanted me in advanced, I always ended up in advanced science classes, advanced biology, advanced fucking physics classes. I always ended up in those classes, but I never.
Did you do well on the math portions?
I did well on math, but I was, you know, I had my math, you know, but I was, the discouragement, like we was talking about in fucking, super learning and how they talk about discouragement is and I'm exceeding my fucking YouTube limit at 15 minutes, so I'm gonna cut it right now, and we're gonna come back in a minute because I'm not a fucking goddamn, you know, partner yet.